Hi, I'm Dr. Felice Gersh, your integrative obstetrician gynecologist, joining you here from Irvine, California to continue our celebration of PCOS Awareness Month. So today we're going to talk about what it takes if you have PCOS to have a healthy pregnancy. Because I can tell you, as a doctor who has delivered thousands and thousands of babies, that to have a healthy pregnancy is basically a prerequisite to having a healthy baby. And when I acted as the obstetrician on all those women, I had two patients. I was never forgetting that. I had to ensure everything I could do to end up with a healthy mom and a healthy baby. Many women who are PCOS women, their focus is so much on getting pregnant. And for those of you out there who actually already are pregnant, well, congratulations, you did it. But that's not the end of the story. We've got to get you through this pregnancy with a beautiful, healthy baby and having you come through it healthy without all those really bad complications that are occurring in women, no matter whether they're PCOS or not, at a much higher rate than has ever happened before, and more so in women with PCOS. They suffer at a much higher rate of pregnancy-related complications of every sort, whether you're talking about gestational diabetes, gestational hypertension, preeclampsia, preterm labor, abruption, babies that are too large, we call that macrosomic, or too small, we call that restricted growth, and a much higher rate of miscarriages as well. So every woman needs to do everything to be healthy throughout pregnancy, and extra exclamation points for women who have PCOS. But so what if you have not yet become pregnant, but now you've decided you're ready? Well, that's great. So for those women who are not yet pregnant, well, what can you do to get ready to optimize your fertility and to have the healthiest possible pregnancy? Well, what you need to do is get optimally healthy right now before you conceive. And that involves every aspect of health. We want to do everything with lifestyle. We want to help you achieve an optimal weight and body composition. We need to help your body be replete, filled with all the necessary nutritional elements, vitamins, minerals, polyphenols, and such. Proper amounts of the different essential fatty acids, proteins, and so forth to enable every cell in your body to work at an optimal status. This is so important. We have to talk going down to the cellular level. Healthy cells make healthy organs. Healthy organs make healthy bodies. It all starts with nutrition, providing the basic building blocks that every cell needs to do its job, which is very complex. Then you need to optimize your fitness status. You need to work on stress, lower your environmental toxicant exposures, all of this prior to conception. Don't try to get pregnant, and don't go to a fertility center and start doing IVF until you are reasonably healthy, as much as possible, even if it delays by 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And even if you're older, like 40, 3 months of really working on your health status can improve outcomes and improve your fertility. So get going, get optimally healthy now. So what else? Say you are now pregnant. Oh, by the way, I meant to mention this. Before you become pregnant is the time to try to figure out who you might like to be your obstetrician. So shop around ahead of time, recognizing that women with PCOS fall into a higher risk category, which not every doctor recognizes. So make sure the doctor that you choose to be your obstetrician is really qualified to deal with any potential complication, or at least has backup, a team that can be incorporated into your obstetrical care to get optimal top-notch care when you are pregnant. So here are my 5 essential tips for every pregnant woman with PCOS. Well, the first one I just gave you, and I'm going to give you some more. I can't stick with just 5. I've got to go over that. So we're going to give you bonus ones too. So the next one is adequate nutrition. I already touched on that before you become pregnant. What about when you are pregnant? Pregnancy is a very unique time in a woman's life. Very, very unique. There are certain population demographic groups that need higher amounts of micronutrients. Micronutrients are the 30 plus essential ones that you cannot get by making them, that you have to consume. These are the vitamins and minerals that you must get from food, but are essential in a multitude of ways to enable your cells to make and operate enzyme systems that drive everything in the body. They act as cofactors and coenzymes and allow your body to make these coenzymes that drive these processes, these enzymatic processes in the body to make things work properly. As well, these micronutrients are essential for DNA stability, for detoxification processes, for creating stability with things like DNA, RNA, and it goes on and on. Basically, every cellular process in the body requires a wide array of micronutrients. And even deficiencies or insufficiencies of one micronutrient can really impact the overall health of the body. So to achieve this, you need to do what? You need to eat a huge variety of plant materials, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, all plants, all whole foods, meaning not processed, not gone through a factory and been modified, but fresh, organic. The chemicals that are on and in the really, conventional foods that are sprayed with herbicides and pesticides, these harm the developing fetus. Please, please do whatever you can to buy organic and lower environmental toxicant exposures. Women who are pregnant are already in a pro-inflammatory state. They are living on thin ice. Now, why would women who are pregnant be in a pro-inflammatory state? Well, because inflammation at a low level, that's what nature wants in women who are pregnant. That's why it's so important to be healthy going in, because a little bit of inflammation creates a little bit of insulin resistance. That's why women who are pregnant are more prone to develop gestational diabetes, because this inflammation makes a little bit of insulin resistance in women who are healthy, and insulin resistance means your body is going to make more insulin and have higher levels of glucose. Now, why is that helpful? As long as you don't cross the line, because insulin has many functions in the body. It drives glucose into cells, which need it for energy, and women who are pregnant need extra energy, especially in the heart, because the heart has to pump so much harder to deal with the larger amounts of blood flow that have to go through the whole body. So that is really important, that it's very well recognized what is needed by the body. So when you are pregnant, you have this mild state of pro-inflammation, and the inflammation creates this insulin resistance, which not only allows higher insulin to drive the blood sugar into the cells, but also to increase fat production and storage, because women who are pregnant need to put on fat, stored fat, for when they become moms and they need to breastfeed, and they may not have a huge supply of food. Remember, we go back as a species thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago when food was not everywhere. Food deficiency was a real threat to survival, and especially for pregnant women and babies. So women had to put on a lot of fat and fast. This insulin resistance of pregnancy helped to do that. As well, driving up the blood sugar drove more blood sugar into the baby so that the baby could grow faster as well. But this little level of inflammation can go over the top very easily. And especially if you add pro-oxidants, chemicals in our environment that increase oxidative stress, inflammation, even more so in the body. Now, let's just take one thing. I'm in California. We've had a lot of fires. That creates tremendous amounts of air pollution. Air pollution requires higher levels of antioxidants, micronutrients, minerals, and vitamins in the body in order to allow the body to process all of this pollution that's coming in, creating oxidative stress. That means you need to have even a greater supply of these in the body. But what if you don't get it? You become more and more inflamed, which will lead to pregnancy complications. So what can you do? Well, I can't expect you to move out of the area. Every area has air pollution. There are cities that have very high levels, and you're not talking even about fires. So get really good air purifiers in your home. Get water purifiers, and then lower the other parts of toxic load contributors like plastics, phthalates, which are soft plastics, BPA and BPS, which are in hard plastics. And like I said, try to avoid herbicides and pesticides in your food. And don't forget cleaning materials. Use things like I do. Vinegar and water, lemon oil. You don't need those toxic bleaches. But if you have to use a bleach, have someone else do it. Do not handle that stuff. Do not breathe the fumes. So make your home as toxicant-free as possible. And also think about the containers that the food is in, plastics and takeout containers where the chemicals in the packaging leach into the food. This is really bad for you and your baby. Okay, so what about the next thing? Well, food today, even when you buy the best food, doesn't necessarily have all the nutrients you need. Remember, when you're pregnant, you need even more. So targeted supplementation is really critical. Every pregnant woman needs to be taking a really high quality prenatal vitamin, and this should be started prior to pregnancy. Now, what do prenatal vitamins have that are a little bit different? They have iodine. In fact, until just a few years ago, United States was one of the only countries on the planet that didn't mandate iodine in their prenatal vitamins. Thank goodness they all do now. But make sure, read the label. Now, what else? Extra iron. And most women will benefit from a separate iron as well. You need to double your blood volume. You need to make all that blood, all that hemoglobin, that all requires lots and lots of iron. And iron does way more than just make blood for you. Oh my gosh, iron is involved in DNA stability, proper sleep. It helps mitochondria, the energy producers of the cells, to work properly. So iron is not optional. And there is extra iron in prenatal vitamins, but most women will benefit from additional iron as well. Then there's some other things. Choline. Not all prenatal vitamins include choline. So you can take a supplement. I usually include phosphatidylcholine. So don't forget that. And omega-3. We can't have women who are pregnant eating a ton of fish because of the mercury. So what can you do? You can take a high quality omega-3 supplement. Make sure you get at least 1 gram a day. Vitamin D is often very deficient. Have it checked before you get pregnant, but you may need to take extra vitamin D, maybe an extra 2,000 IUs, maybe even 4. So get your level checked. You want to get it to at least 30, but preferably around 50. And there's been a lot written up about the health of the baby and the health of the mom relating to vitamin D levels. Don't forget minerals. I mentioned all these micronutrients. Well, magnesium is almost always deficient in every woman. So taking some extra magnesium can be very beneficial, 200 to 400 milligrams a day. And you may benefit from adding a multi-mineral as well. Do talk to your obstetrician, but you really, really need extra supplies of these micronutrients, which are essential. The details matter. these little bits of minerals and vitamins can really dictate the outcome of your pregnancy. Don't underestimate the importance of micronutrients. And of course, there are macronutrients like protein. So protein, you need to have extra protein every single day. So I like you to get it from legumes, beans, lentils, not by eating a ton of animal. I want you to eat some animal and get some saturated fat, but not huge amounts, okay? Eating lots of green vegetables will also deliver a tremendous amount of calcium, which you also need extra calcium. And also just an extra calcium pill, like maybe 600 milligrams a day, taken with meals. And don't forget to hydrate. Hydrate. We don't want you passing out when you're standing in a line, because women do tend to get hypotensive. So be sure you hydrate well. Now, what else? Why don't you try to reduce the number of pharmaceuticals that you take? Now, many doctors are prescribing metformin throughout the entire pregnancy, but the science doesn't support that. The data that is out there shows that metformin did not accomplish what they had hoped it would do in pregnant women, like lower the incidence of gestational diabetes or preeclampsia or hypertension. It didn't do any of that. But what it does do is it modifies the genes involved in the metabolic status of the babies. And they've shown that when you get a baby about 4 years of age, that those babies that were born from PCOS women who are on metformin throughout the pregnancy have higher degrees of body fat and are more metabolically unhealthy. Metformin is an endocrine disruptor. We can help to regulate blood sugar through diet and exercise. Metformin just didn't work out. It had almost no benefits. A slight reduction, really marginal in terms of preterm delivery, but really marginal. But it's not right. It's not worth it for affecting the basic metabolic function of your baby. It didn't do what we hoped. I wish it had. Now, what about other drugs? Well, I don't want you taking painkillers. Do not take NSAIDs like ibuprofen. Do not take acetaminophen when you're pregnant. Those are forbidden. Do not take them. And if your doctor says you should take Tylenol, acetaminophen, don't do it. It's been shown to increase birth defects. It depletes your body of glutathione. So don't use that. If you have a headache, lie down, hydrate, and take a little magnesium. Please. You can also use very few herbs, but you can use ginger. Okay? Ginger is very potent as an anti-inflammatory. I want you to drink teas like ginger and cinnamon. They're very, very great for you. You can also have chamomile tea. So I need you to avoid pharmaceuticals. Also PPIs. Those are the drugs that lower your production of stomach acid, and it will impact your ability to digest food and to absorb nutrients. So it's much better to deal with heartburn by eating smaller meals, by eating more of your food in the morning. But please try to avoid drugs that alter your ability to have proper digestion, like get rid of your stomach acid. So let's try everything else, like drinking some ginger tea, some chamomile tea, eating small meals, and do an elimination diet, like take out certain foods for a few days. Like you may do better to take out raw peppers or raw tomatoes, things like that, and see how you do. And your pregnancy will progress and you're going to feel better, okay? Especially if you're having heartburn in the first trimester. Now, what about my bonus? I said I can't just do it in 5. Oh, here are my bonus tips. Get plenty of sunlight. Sunlight helps you make serotonin and melatonin, so you'll sleep better, you'll feel happier. We need to control stress. They've shown that stress of the mom changes the gene expression of the baby and increases negative, harmful outcomes of pregnancy. So work on stress, listen to soft music, get out, take a nature walk, and definitely try some mind-body practices like slow breathing techniques, meditation, guided imagery. Okay? And I didn't mention enough fitness. You need to get a good, healthy, vigorous walk in every day, unless there's some contraindication. My advice does not supersede that of your doctor, okay? And sleep. Sleep is essential, and more so in pregnancy. Make sure you have healthy, organic pillows. That's another thing. If you get those Tempur-Pedic type pillows, they off-gas styrene. So please get, or splurge on it, get an organic pillow, because all night long you're breathing whatever's off-gassing from it. So get an air purifier for your bedroom. Make sure you get a wonderful, comfortable, organic pillow. Make the room really dark and cool, because you feel extra hot when you're pregnant. These tips will go a long way to helping you to be successful with your pregnancy. Healthy mother, healthy mommy, healthy baby. We need to get all of that accomplished, or else the mission is not accomplished. So thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time on PCOS Awareness Month. Bye.